I view it as a collection of people who set out on a mission to better serve our athletes in sport. I think what the Alliance is doing, it's not only bringing people together, but it's creating a pathway in our sport that never existed before. That is a big part of who we are, and we had to create that so that we could create that top of the pyramid. And then we can bring more resources to every layer of the pyramid too. I always just go back to our mission, and it's putting the athlete first, and it's serving our sport. And I look at the people that we've surrounded ourselves with and stayed together with that common mission and core values.
Hi, my name is Jill Higdon. I'm your guest host for today's car ride home. Today's guest is Jami Lobpries. Jami competed in the Women's College World Series in both 07 and 08 and helped lead her team in 2008 to runner-up. She was the 2008 All-Big 12 outfielder team member. She was part of the 08 All Women's College World Series team, which is crazy cool. She was part of the 06 NFCA All-American Scholar Athlete Pool. She was named to the Big 12 All Academic Team in 06, 07, and 08. She received her bachelor's, master's, and PhD degrees in sports management from Texas A&M. Jami played in the NPF. She has been an executive in the softball business since 2015. She's a founding board member for the Alliance Fastpitch, and she is the current CEO of the Alliance Fastpitch. And Jami's my friend. Jami, welcome to the car ride home.
Most important, I'm so excited to be riding shotgun and not driving the car this week.
Yeah, and I'm like a mediocre driver, so I'm going to be real.
Belts on right now.
Very mediocre. All right, so let's set the stage for this car ride. What kind of music are we listening to?
Okay, funny. I host this, right? And I ask people, and you think like I'd have time to prep for this. I didn't. Right now, Jami is probably listening to for King Country. I've been really into like worship music, and old Jami was 100% rocking like 90s hip hop. Like I love some old school hip hop when I was working out or getting ready to play.
Okay, so old school hip hop, is that like Salt and Peppa? Is that like, or is that like more like Biggie Smalls and things like
Biggie
that?
Smalls. Like I love some Biggie. I'm from Texas. Like I even had some, like Mike Jones, and I loved Nelly back in the day. Like Nelly was my
Oh,
jam.
you just pulled Mike Jones.
Mike Jones.
Yes. Okay, what was your walk-up song?
Oh, I had a few. Last name's Lobpries. I tried to incorporate some things like that. So Flow Rida, drop it or drop it low. I can't remember the name of the song, but that was one. Okay, here's a good one. Paul Wall, Chunk Up the Deuce, because I was number 2. And I actually met Paul Wall, and I told him, and he's like, got his grill, and he's like, thanks. So that was one. My last year in the pro league was Nicki Minaj. I was all over the place.
Yeah, but really fun. All of them were like really fun and like thought through. I like just like you, very thoughtful and very fun. So did your teammates like have a like chunk of the deuce? Like, did they have like a,
I was
shimmy or
hoping
something?
A&M crowd did. I don't actually remember. But that was my plan. I don't know if they did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We got the music going, 90s hip hop. I'm all in, by the way. Missy Elliott was my walk up song my
Whoa.
senior year. So yeah,
Love Miss
Jeremy
Elliott.
gave me grief for that one, but it was all fun too. Okay, very important. Where are we eating on this car ride?
If it was me as a kid, I was 100% going to Taco Bell, like always. Now, if I'm going quick, then Kava is my jam. I would definitely look for a Kava. But ideally, I would love to like go to a steak dinner and have a nice glass of wine and steak. Or I am a craft brewery fan, so that's like Jami today.
So we're like sitting down, ordering food, like getting comfortable for a good conversation.
That would be ideal, like out on a patio with some live music and a good cold craft beer.
Love that. Okay. Very you. Very you. All right, this is the car ride home. What is your most memorable car ride home?
Again, like okay, I asked this question to other people. So what is mine? Um, and I have to tell a story. So my mom is awesome. She super mom. She listens to this podcast, and so she called me recently, and she wanted to know like how were our car rides, and I'm like normal. I think they were normal. I spent a lot of time in the car. I'm from a small town, and when I started playing club soccer, it was twice a week to practice, probably an hour each way. Weekends on in the car with my parents, and I think it was like I did so much homework in the car. Like that's what I remember the most is doing my homework, stopping at Taco Bell, and people just thinking that we were absolutely nuts for driving all the time for club soccer. I do have a memorable one, and it's in college. And as a sophomore in college, I was battling for a position, and I wasn't playing that game, and I'd like sat out a couple games. I didn't really know why, and of course, I got selfish and was pouting a little bit. So I go into pinch run, and I don't slide on a bunt. I don't slide at second base. I get thrown out, and I have to cross the third base coach's box with our head coach, Coach Evans, and I'm like sinking inside. And she just looked at me, and that's all she had to do was like shake her head and look in disappointment. But I'll never forget. Then that was the end of the tournament. I think we were at Mary Nutter, and so we're getting on the bus, and I'm just like not myself. And it was my mom who recognized that and said, "You need to have a conversation with Coach Evans." I'm like, I don't always admit that my mom's right, but she was right. And I forced myself on the bus to say, "Hey, coach, when we get back, can I come in and see you?" And so then it was like I had to go, right? And so then I go and sit on the bus and we fly home. But like that is a very, very memorable moment. It probably changed my career too, just like who I am.
Oh, and that like deep breath. Can you still go back? Can you still feel that feeling of having to jog past her going back
Uh,
to the dugout?
like that is one of the most humiliating because Coach Evans is my mentor. Like she's like a mom, and it was the disappointment. And like she's right, I knew better. Like that was selfish. That was not being a good teammate. And like, oh, I just felt so small, so
Hmm.
small.
Do you remember how that conversation went whenever you got back?
Yeah, because now like I told her right, like, hey, I'd like to meet with you, which was a big moment. I was 19 years old at that point, and so you got to follow through. And you got to go in. And that meeting actually changed my career because I got to be honest with her too, of just like how I felt. Like, I think I was a little bit of a confusing player to coach. Um, but like, because I'm highly competitive and sometimes it could come across maybe different ways. So we had like one of the most open, honest conversations. And then we got to know each other better through that. But it was hard because I had to hear really hard things from Coach Evans too.
Mhm.
But they were so good for me at that point in my life, and it made me a better person.
Do you still do that? Do you still like set an appointment so that you make sure that you show up later? Is that a practice that you, because not everyone does that. I feel like that's like a tool that you were using even back then in college.
Great question. Yeah, because then I have to hold myself accountable. I totally do that. I didn't even think about it, but yeah. And now I'll send a message of like, "Hey, I want to meet," and then it's like, You got to meet," because I'm very big on follow through. So if I put it out there, then yeah, I got to follow through.
Yeah, I love that you said because you have to follow through. I mean, you actually don't. Like people don't all the time. So the fact that you like even then as a very young adult did that is really cool, and it definitely speaks to who you are today.
So I did it. I did it this morning. Now I think about it. A friend of mine wanted. She loves rowing, and there's this stupid 2,000 meter row competition that she likes to compete against me in it, and I hate it. Like I hate doing it. But I told her I would be there, so I got up this morning, and I didn't want to be there, but I was there for her, and I did it because I
Did
said
you win?
I beat
Did you win
her.
the
It
competition?
was not my best, and I'm still mad at myself right now.
It's all about Orange Theory, early morning Orange Theory. Okay, so you mentioned earlier on your, but wait, before we move on, I have to know what was your Taco Bell order? Do you
Oh,
remember?
back in
What
the
was your
day,
first?
yeah. Three soft tacos with no lettuce, which is like so boring, and mild sauce. Like that's it. My palate has grown so much in adulthood. It would now be cheesy gordita crunches, which so hard.
Okay. All right. Mine was a bean burrito. We would like find 88 cents in the sofa and go get a bean burrito. So
Good.
totally with you. It's good. Okay, so you mentioned your drive. I know you're from Wharton, from a small town in Texas, and you mentioned the 1 hour drive to soccer practice. Why softball? Why is that the sport
Mm.
that, because you're really fast, super competitive? It sounds like there wasn't a ton of opportunity in the small town. Why softball? What really did light that spark, and then what kept it going?
I think softball because I love baseball. So I think the first sport that I really started playing competitively and what organized was baseball. And so I was the only girl on my baseball team until I was in eighth grade. And then I was like, okay, I guess I'll go play softball now. I had an older cousin who's 2 years older. And actually all my cousins are like a lot older than me. I hope they listen to this and hear that, but they had played softball, so like it was in the family, and played for the high school, played locally. A lot of them still played slow pitch at the time. So my aunt had always been like, hey, Jamie needs to come play softball with us. Nope, I'm playing baseball. And I was good. Like I made all the all-star teams, and I was playing well and like one of the top players in my age group. So I'm like, nah, I'm playing baseball. Way more fun. And that was like me and my dad bonded in baseball. He was always my coach too. But then I started playing competitive soccer, and that opened my eyes. And by the way, there was a woman named Janet Hurley who was reffing my like local Wharton game and came over to the coach, who happened to be my mom. It was like, "Hey, who's that kid? Like, she needs to play club soccer." My mom's like, "That's mine. What's club soccer?" Like, okay. So bless my parents, they just said yes, and like we'll figure it out, and we'll get you there, and we'll go see what this club soccer thing is. So that opened my eyes from a small town to athletes that were as committed as I was, that were as athletic as I was. It's just like a whole new world of hanging out with these kids from different backgrounds too inside the Houston area. But now I'm like, oh, you can play a sport in college. Like, okay. And so softball was really because I love baseball. And then because I started playing competitively, like if you would have asked me as a sophomore in high school, I'd have told you I'm going to play soccer in college.
Yeah.
And I had a ACL injury my sophomore year, and I think that just changed me of like what I wanted to come back to, what I found myself missing the most,
Oh, that's cool.
and it was softball. And I think I probably honestly would have gone to Rice in soccer, but which is a like high academic D1. But like my parents are Aggies. I wanted to go to A&M. Softball ended up being my best sport too, and so I think that's what led me to softball.
Oh, that's so fun. And how terrible that you had an ACL injury your sophomore year, but how interesting that that changed your life in that way. Those injuries at that age tend to change the trajectory of athletes. And you choosing your sport from that is super interesting.
15 years old as a playoff basketball game as a sophomore. And I'd actually just tied the game up. And I'm coming back on defense, and I got crossed over, I guess, but pivoted and snapped.
Oh,
And like, we just didn't really know what ACL injuries were back then. So somebody told me like, man, it's a shame, like you had a future. And I'm like, I still have a future. What are you talking about? Like that never crossed my mind. I'm 15. Like I'll come back.
yeah.
And I
And
did, but man, it sidelines you and like, all right, how do I get this competitiveness out? So you do it in rehab and physical therapy, and I did it in school, and then just wanted to get back out and play so bad.
yeah, there's a fear too that you have to overcome after an injury like that. So that that I can only imagine 15-year-old Jamie how tenacious you were.
Fun fact: when I when I turned, it was like I had surgery about 2 weeks before my 16th birthday, and it's on my right leg, and I was bound to determine like I am going to drive on day one of my 16th birthday. So I did, like in a ACL brace.
Yeah.
It's quite memorable.
Yeah.
Very.
No, that tracks though. Okay, when you started playing travel ball, which org did you play for?
So actually, sophomore year in March of my sophomore year is when I had surgery. And so I missed that entire softball season in high school. And that summer is when tryouts for travel ball. So now I'm like, okay, I want to play travel ball. But I'm coming back and I knew Sugar Land, Missouri City. So I tried out for the Missouri City Magic, which crazy they don't exist anymore because they were so good when back when I played. And I didn't make their top team, their 18 under team, because I couldn't really do anything. I wasn't fully released. So like I didn't really get to show the things I was good at, which was primarily speed. So I didn't make it, but the 16U team picked me up. So I played for a year with the 16 under Missouri City Magic. And then the following summer after my junior year, I went to A&M softball camp. And not only did I start getting recruited by A&M, but Megan Gibson was on my camp team. She was already committed to A&M, and her dad coached Impact Gold, which Impact Gold was a division. So Impact was the organization, and the Gold team. So Megan also recruited me to come play for Impact Gold. So I finished my career playing for Impact.
That is so cool. And do you still work with Impact?
I tell them all the time when they win awards at Alliance, I'm like, by the way, just so you know, I'm an alumni. And Jazz, if you're listening, I ask her all the time, like, don't forget, I am an alum of Impact Gold. Like, bring me back. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel like that needs to be part of the like blurb. Jami Lobpries, Impact Gold.
Impact Gold.
Back at the gold. Okay, so let's talk about Texas A&M. I know that's a big part of your history and something that you're still very proud of and still active. I mean, you and I will talk on your way to a softball game. It's always going to be an A&M softball game. What's the best thing that you took away from your time at A&M playing?
People. It's definitely the people that I'm still so close to today. That and I'm so fortunate, but it's because at Texas A&M, it really is I mean, it's a cult, but it's a culture. And I think the people that Joe Evans brought in, they're all just so like-minded and like her. So Coach Evans is 100 like my biggest mentor in life. But the players I got to play again or play with, even in my class, are my best friends to this day. So I think the people, but just the support at Texas A&M too is unlike anything, and you can see it now if you watch on social. We call it 12th man, but the students show up for the athletes. Like this Aggie ring is a real thing, and I knew that a little bit because both my parents went to Texas A&M, but now living it and however old I am, 20 years removed from, not quite actually,
Yeah, don't
15 years removed. It's just such a special place. And when you see Aggies, like there's just that common bond of and connection of great people.
Well, and I got to go to an LSU A&M football game within probably the last 5 years, and the A&M fans were so lovely. They were so lovely. Like we were just walking around because that campus is a sight. Like it's really cool if you're not familiar with it. And we were just walking up to the stadium, and the Aggies fans were just like, "Come on, like come, celebrate this with us." It was really cool.
It's cool. It's real too. Like they love Texas A&M and they love the Aggies, but they're also just like down for a good time. And it was so evident when I showed up on campus in 2005, our first season. They softball had a good year the year before, and the baseball crowd, which are it's historically the baseball fans at Texas A&M it's really cool. They're the ones that do the ball five. They brought so many of the traditions of baseball to softball. And then we were really good. And we won the Big 12 as freshmen. And then we won the Big 12 again and went on the World Series runs. Those fans followed us. And it was just so cool. They went on the road with us. They were in Oklahoma City. And it's like, you just feel so proud that you're representing this entire student body that shows up to support you. And it's like, back in 2007, 2008, like women's sports weren't as big as they are now, but we were probably the best team on campus, and so they showed up for us too.
That's so cool. And then how do you still feel like as an adult? How are you still feeling that support from the A&M community? Like, is it constant? Because it seems like it's kind of a never ending just support system for
It
you.
really is, and I'm still like a super fan. I watched every inning of A&M versus Florida over the weekend. A&M basketball just lost to Texas. And I text my best friend, Amanda Scarborough, and I'm like, I'm so angry. Like I'm
Mhm.
still feel it. But I live in Florida now, so I don't get to see as many Aggies. But when I do, like I notice that ring right away. And there's an instant conversation that we have. And it's, I still have people that follow me on social that were Aggie fans back in 2008. And it never dies. Like the spirit of Texas A&M is real and it lasts forever.
It's really cool to see. It's really cool as someone who's totally outside, as a Louisiana native and an LSU fan and all of those things too. I just really appreciate all of the enthusiasm and seemingly the lifelong love of the Aggies that I see in you and in others.
Yeah. It
Um,
was a special place, but then to be an athlete there was really cool.
And you did it the whole time too. I just love that. I was always jealous of athletes that started and ended their careers at the same place because of the familiarity and I always said like you would know like the way to get into the stadium like the back way. Like you would know like the guy to like shake hands with and
So
you
true.
know yeah, I didn't get to experience that. So that's the comfortability that you like the people that made it all the way through is it's just really cool. And the love for it. So you mentioned the World Series. Y'all went to the World Series. You went to the World Series twice.
Twice.
Yeah, yeah. Finished runner up. You being named to the World Series team. Actually, my best friend at LSU was named to the World Series team in '01, and so I'm familiar with her run in that, and it was crazy. I mean, she was just on fire. So I didn't look up any stats or anything for you for the '08 World Series, but how did that experience affect you then? And then how is it still affecting you?
That there's a story behind it too that I think sparked my personal run. And our team, man, we hit every adversity. We had like 12 active players in the World Series. And I look at rosters now just from injuries and some players had left and we lose our best pitcher, like our all-American pitcher, Amanda Scarborough. We lose her for the season. Fortunately, we had another all-American pitcher named Megan Gibson who like takes the ball and we go on this insane run and there were four of us in our class, and we're like I said, we're still best friends. So Amanda Scarborough, Megan Gibson, Jamie Henshaw, myself. The other three were all Americans at some point in their career. Big 12 Players of the Year. Megan should have won National Player of the Year. She got runner up. So like my class was insane. They're so good. Um, but I went through some growing pains. Like I didn't play as a freshman. They all did, and I had to battle for a position as a sophomore. And then yeah, finally, like I made the lineup in my sophomore year and junior year, senior year. I was a starter. Um, but when we got to that World Series, they back then they would just pull a few players to do the interviews. And I remember like the other three went and I didn't. I was like, dang it, that kind of sucks, Like we do everything together. And so I'm like, I had to kind of have self talk of like, this isn't a time to like feel sorry for yourself. It's more like prove it, prove that you belong up there. That like you're a great player too. And so I think that helped spark going on a little run. And I think I had some timely hitting. I'm the type of player, I love pressure, like, and I love competition. I love those big moments. I wish I would have channeled that at some of the other points of my career, but it worked. And I had a really good defensive, I think, uh, I played center field that year and made some good plays defensively, had some timely hits. And I think that's what I have no idea what my batting average was in the World Series, but I guess it was pretty good. And then when your team finishes second, then you get some representation on there.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, but you have to have a heck of a tournament. So I really wish that I had those stats. I kind of want to like I'll comment that whenever you put this on X.
I hope no, like, don't go Google my hitting stats, you guys, because it's like, I don't know, 250, 240. Like, it wasn't good. And so then you're like, how in the world did she play professionally? And I think I was an elite defender. Like, I think I was a very, very good outfielder. And I'm fast. I was like an okay hitter, but I tend to hit well in bigger moments off better pitchers. And the only reason I played professionally is because I had a good World Series. Like, that's it. Like that's the only reason that people knew my names. And thankfully, because our team was good and my teammates were so good, then I think people like noticed me too, or they just mixed me up with Jamie Hinshaw, who was the All American. That's fine too.
Yeah, no credit. You're taking no credit. And I'm thinking, so I've gotten to know you pretty well at this point, and your intellect and your calm that you bring to situations to me is like a superpower that you have. So there's no way. So if you hit 250, I would love to know your runs scored and your RBIs, because no, I bet I would just guess that you really stepped up when you needed to, which is what you still do as an adult. You use your intellect and your calm, and you take that into like tough conversations or exciting conversations or big decisions.
Thank you. One. But I do remember, especially my junior year, I hit fifth and I hit behind Megan and Amanda. And I don't think this is a real stat, but I'm pretty sure I led the country in like people in front of you getting intentionally walked so they could throw to me, if that's a stat. But I love those moments because then I'm pissed. Like, sure, come on, throw to me. And I bet my average in those was very high because it just like brought this like fuel and competitiveness to me of like, all right, let's go. It's like motto my whole life.
No, that's really fun. And I wonder if that is a stat. I mean, in baseball, it's a stat. Like it
Yeah.
has to be. So I would actually love to know that stat. Like I would love for that to be a new stat line. Whoever makes those decisions, let's make that happen. I want to know.
It's called Andrew.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so you mentioned playing professionally. You played with, you were drafted by the Philadelphia Force, correct?
I didn't actually get drafted. I
Okay.
got picked up as a free agent the next year.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, like I thought I was done in 2008 when I put my cleats because I didn't get drafted, and I like went up to visit friends who were playing, but I didn't get drafted nor play in '08. I got a call in like September after the season to see if I would be interested for the next summer, and it was the Philadelphia Force.
Okay. And that was Megan Gibson was on that team, right?
She just kept recruiting me. We couldn't
Yeah.
couldn't leave each other.
That's so cool. You'd be like 85 years old, like Megan Gibson got me in the bingo. Like, here we go.
That'd be fun.
A fun fact that links us before we get into the story is, so you played with Trina Peel and Lillian Hammond on that team. And Trina was a teammate of mine, and Lillian played for me.
That's
So yeah, I actually texted Lil. I was like, "Do you remember play? Like, does this happen?" And she was like, "I did. That's so cool. I love Jamie."
That's
So
funny. Trina's been around for so long. Like everybody was a rookie with Trina Peel. Like she's just a legend.
just love her so much. Love her. She's doing a great job at Memphis too. It's really fun to watch. So tell me about your time at NPF. Like, how did you use, and how many years did you play for the
I
NPF?
played four. So '09, 10, 11, and 12 for the 4 years that I played. It's probably why I'm doing what I'm doing today with the Alliance is because of that. And yeah, I graduated in 2008. Now, I say this now, but like obviously we were going through a big recession in 2008. It was more like I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. So I just extended my time at Texas A&M by getting into grad school. And I actually, go figure, thought that playing professional softball would help my resume for the business side of sports. So I'm like, what a great networking opportunity. Play professionally, meet a lot of people, and that could help propel the career. Because at that point, I just wanted to work in sports and I didn't know exactly what. But also, I get to play softball too. But I think the impact that the women playing in the NPF had on me shaped my passions and desires because I'm playing against the best players in the world. And I played in 2010, a lot of the players that played for Team USA when softball had just gotten taken out of the Olympics, right? And they made the decision to essentially walk away from USA, but more so to build professional softball. And I remember we're in Sulphur, Louisiana for our championship. And I think we're in a gym for like our banquet. And Sherry Kemp was the commissioner at the time, and she called on those players to be recognized, and like that mattered. And it was Caitlin Lowe, Monica Abbott, Natasha Watley, Jessica Mendoza, Ashley Charters, Lauren Lappin. I apologize, I'm forgetting some of the people, but like those women made a decision. They believed in professional softball, and we could create more opportunities. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. That's powerful. And I think that shaped me. I mean, Jill, my rookie year, our team went bankrupt. I didn't get paid at the end of the season, and I am a broke college master's student. I'm like, I need that money. Like, it's like 2 grand, but like, I need it.
Oh yeah.
And nobody was doing anything about it. So here I am, the rookie, like messaging the commissioner, like, we need to get paid. But then I come back, and then that next season, I tear my ACL again, go through all kinds of issues with like medical bills and things like that. And then we didn't have an owner. Like right before the season, the owner like didn't want to own us anymore. I don't know what they did, but we became a league owned team in Nashville, which was amazing. Living in Nashville, by the way. And then we still didn't have an owner in my third season, and then we finally get an owner in my fourth season. We had coaching changes. I mean, like I honestly think I could write a book of like every terrible experience you could go through as a professional athlete, but long bus rides and like no resources and not getting paid, but there was that passion. So I kept showing up every year because I believed in the product, I believed in the people. And I mean, here we are today, right? With AUSL, I'm still a big proponent of wanting a sustainable professional league, but it's because of my experience that I had there. And I did use it to network, and I met a ton of people, and it's exactly how I've gone in this trajectory here.
Yeah, and do you find yourself? I actually got to catch up with Selena Collins pretty recently, and she was just getting back into like travel softball. And she was like, I don't have the network. And I was like, actually, whenever you go back to like the college days, like those are the people who are really shaping softball right now, really like all the way through from the bottom all the way to post collegiate play. That network has got to get you places like on and on and on.
For sure. And you hear it, right? Advice of like, you need to network, you need to build relationships. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I believe in authentic relationship building and what that's done for me personally. But it was like I was kind of in that same boat. Fortunately, I just got to know the people at USSSA while I was playing. And I never played for them. But of being myself, of like, having a conversation, asking a bunch of questions, then people and putting my passions out there, I think people knew what I stood for. And so when it came time to like think about somebody for a job, it's like, oh, I remember her. She's the crazy one that kept talking about, all these ideas for professional softball. And I think people in the NPF are like, you should be a commissioner of the pro league. I'm like, no way. But it's because I talked openly about, and it gave my passions and ideas all the time. But I built relationships, and those have lasted a long time. Still to this day, like in the recruiting world, so many of the people that I played with or against are college coaches. And that's huge in my line of work now, and having those relationships. So, but I agree with you, like where we're at right now, it's a lot of women that are in positions of influence that I played against too.
Yeah, it's just so cool. So you mentor women, young women, and adult women, and I've watched you create relationships. I love it so much. I think it's so fun to watch you build those relationships and use your curiosity and intellect and beautiful words to construct these relationships. How do you help young women develop the skills to create good relationships, especially if it's not their natural inclination to do so?
It's a good question. And I don't know if I do any of it intentionally, or more so I really like to bring people together, and I really like to put people in environments that hopefully they can learn from or take things away. So I hope that me just embodying that and living that people are watching, and that young women can learn, or young people could learn from what I'm doing. I don't have a recipe for it. I don't know exactly. It's just become kind of who I am. But I didn't start out that way. I was super shy. Like I was a shy kid to the point that like my sister, I have an older sister, she did all the talking. Like I just played. I just competed. I didn't want to speak up in class. Like I don't know. I was just a shy kid, and I don't know exactly what changed it, but it might have been playing club soccer where I got to like reinvent myself. Nobody knew who I was at that point. And so all right, I'll talk, or I try to make jokes that are probably not funny. Like I just put myself out there, and then that confidence I think in myself grew. And that's really like all it is now, I guess, is just a confidence, or at least some self-talk to make myself pretend that I am feeling confident.
So that's at least the second time you said self-talk. So when I'm actually working with a 16-year-old tennis player, and self-talk is like a huge part of our conversations. And I said to her, just recognizing your self-talk is a huge step. Like noticing, oh, I'm not speaking to myself in a way that I would speak to my friend, or I wouldn't be proud of anyone hearing this. When you say, so that's what when I'm doing self-talk, that's where I start. Where do you start whenever you think of self-talk, and then how do you redirect it as needed?
Interesting. Which I love, by the way, that you mentor and like are very intentional with your mentoring. I Self-talk is like it's just been a part of me, and it's like almost self-coaching for myself. But now that I say this out loud, it's kind of funny, but like I can vividly remember conversations just with myself. And I'd like to like mine I think are positive. It's coaching. It's like come on, and it's talking through things. I spend a lot of time even now. Like I go on long walks every morning with my dog, but a lot of that time too, whether it's prayer or self-talk or just like thinking, um yeah, like I just think it's a big part of, sometimes I need my own extra little coaching and motivation. So I think that's what mine is too, is like reflection and self-coaching. But I think it's really important and I think it's really important to keep that positive too.
That's so cool. Did anyone teach you that? Do you remember? Or is it was just like the thing that you needed for yourself, so you cultivated it?
I do know my junior year of college, we got a sports psychologist. And that's the first time that I ever like had real coaching on that side of the game of mental. And so I think I definitely took some from there. And that's where it probably shifted to more positive. I could probably think back to like being a youth athlete, and it might not have been because I was very hard on myself, like super hard on myself. And I had a really bad temper. So I've learned to like self-talk helps me control now and breathe. But yeah, I would point back to my junior year of college when we finally got a mental strength coach and started talking about tools to really help yourself with things like self-talk.
That's so fun. It's really cool. A professional did come in and help you, but you were already aware. And so you just like flipped it. You were like, oh, I can learn here. And so
Oh, he was huge. I mean, honestly, that's a big part of, we went to the World Series in '07. It kind of, it correlates. Like there's a lot, but I know for me personally, it helped me big time to actually work with somebody that specializes on the mental side of the game.
it's really cool. Okay, so I want to kind of go into I've named these questions from player to executive roadmap. So remind me what your PhD dissertation was titled, because I remember that it's very
Oh.
interesting.
I compared the brand identities of Jenny Finch and Kat Osterman because as products, they're very similar, but their branding and packaging and their identities were very different. And so that's what I wanted to examine as to why they're different and how that affects athlete brands.
Why was that the topic? Because you had already gone, you had your bachelor's, you had your master's. This was the thing that you were like, I'm going to spend all my time writing. Why that
So
one?
I started my PhD just like I had been recruited to do it after my master's, and I was like, absolutely not. I want out of school. Like, get me out of College Station. So I left for like 2.5 years. And then I was like, huh, all right, what's this thing about? So I went back because I was passionate about marketing professional softball. So that's actually why I started my PhD, is I wanted to learn, we had a great product. how the heck do you market this thing and create revenue? And so my first couple years of your PhD, you're taking courses, you're doing a lot of like literature review and things like that. You don't actually nail down your topic until, well, I didn't at least until year 3. So I had no idea until then. But when I'm really into something, I'll go all in. And so the fact that it was about female athletes, it was about branding, which I love. And then I got to incorporate female athletes, particularly softball. Like that just made my dissertation fun when you spend an entire year on it.
Yeah. Okay. And then do you want to tell us like the conclusions that you found?
Mm. Uh, I think the biggest one, core values and who they are and how that is relatable to a bigger audience. So like Jenny was very, and I spoke to their agents too. Jenny was business minded. Jenny's core values are family and faith. There's a large population out there, right, that family and faith also are their core values. So it's very relatable. It attracts a larger audience. Not that Kat wasn't, but Kat's very competitive. Kat was very driven on performance. And still in a time today, right, like female athletes, Caitlin Clark might be the now exception. Like performance was only a small part. Like going out, doing all the appearances, being on, we didn't have social media as much back then, but like that's a huge part of driving revenue for female athletes, whereas males didn't have to do that as much. And so like that was a big part of it too.
Oh, I love that so much. See, that's why, like, anytime we get going on your dissertation, I'm like, we could speak for hours on what you learned
Oh
there.
my gosh, somebody just sent me a post. My one of my articles from it has been cited almost 100 times. I'm like, that's kind of cool. Like, it's an academic journal.
It's just so cool.
Huge nerd, huge
Ah,
nerd.
so cool. So it sounds like if I'm putting the pieces together, you kind of have followed your passion. Like, you're curious, you're smart, you're good with words, you're good with people. And so I've got to watch you, I have gotten to watch you build the Alliance Fastpitch and use all of those things. Is that accurate to say that you've each step of the way on your professional career, you followed your passion?
Yes. For the most part, yes. And I think that's what fires me up every day too. Like it's never been about money. In fact, I probably like, could have gotten a career and made a lot more money rather than going in softball. But I would rather get into things and like work all day on stuff that I'm fired up and passionate about. That's just what fuels me. So, yes. And of course, I've been through the grind, right? Like as you're working your way up your career, 100% I've done things that I didn't love, but there was kind of always a purpose with some of it and paying your dues a little bit. But yeah, I think I get when I get really excited about something and when I love the people that I'm around too, like that just fuels me. And I think that's been a big part of the Alliance growth.
That's great. Yeah. So I learned years ago that only work with people that you'd want to have a beer with. And
That's good.
isn't that good? And it seems like you definitely have done that when, like you said, when possible. I mean, sometimes you just have to grind it out and pay your bills. Like, it's just the truth of it. Is there any advice that you would give to anyone? I say this a lot, but it's for women to stay in softball and keep softball and really just sports in general at the focus of their career. You have to be creative. It's getting less so. You don't have to be as creative. There are jobs now in even youth softball that did not exist 10 years ago. What advice would you give to someone who wants to do something really, let's just say in sports?
I think number one is you have to grind. And that's what we learned as an athlete too, right? Like you have to grind and be willing to grind and also be willing to put in some of the work at the beginning too, because sports are glamorous and the being an entertainment and watching it, but behind the scenes, those of us who work in it know that it's a grind. And it's not always as glamorous. Now, when you get to watch the end result and watch, an event come to life or athletes succeed, it's so worth it. But I think number one, like you got to be willing to. There's grit. I think is real, and I think that um, like there's no excuse around it, right? Like you got to have a little grittiness to it. I think you have to. I said yes a lot, and I said yes, and I committed to things and followed through, as we were talking about earlier, on my commitment. But now I can be a little bit more choosy and say no. But at the very beginning of my career, I said yes to opportunities because at least it gave me experience and maybe it taught me what I didn't want to do. But I said yes, and I worked hard, and I wanted people around me. I think first impressions are real, and so am I leaving a lasting impression by the way that I show up, by the work that I do, by Coach Evans taught me very early, right? Control the controllables, your attitude and your effort. Like I can control those every single day. And I think that's really important for young people that are getting into the workplace too, or even now. Like I self-talk, self-reminders to myself too, right? That I can be in control of those things.
Mm-hmm. It's really cool. Are you a little surprised in this conversation about how much you talk, like the self-talk and like how intentional you are? Did you
I
know?
it's weird for me to talk this much.
I love it.
That probably one of the best skills that I've learned is listening. And I think listening gets is underrated too. The skill of not just like sitting here and letting somebody else talk, but like hearing each other, and like learning about people. I love learning about people. I probably annoy the crap out of my friends because, speaking of having a beer, like I want to have a beer and have a conversation because I really want to get to know people and listen to their stories. So it's really hard and awkward for me to tell my own story. So I think I'm most shocked at how much I've talked in this so far.
It's been so fun. So we have more. Okay, so talk about building the Alliance Fastpitch a little bit. I'm personally so proud of what the Alliance has built, and I've gotten to see almost from the beginning. And I've really loved getting to watch you work. You just said that that listening is underrated, and I just get to watch you listen. I mean, it's my favorite for you to like throw out a topic, and then you're just like, I'm just gonna wait till someone speaks up. And I know that you went and you like learned how to do that. Yeah. So you've created an organization. I actually had this written before you said what you said. You have created an organization that listens to coaches and players. What would you want people listening to this conversation to know about the path that we took to the Alliance? But let's start with, where are we right now? Like, how do you define the Alliance right now?
I define the Alliance as, to me, I view it as a collection of people who set out on a mission to better serve our athletes in sport. But I think what the Alliance is doing, it's not only bringing people together, but it's creating a pathway in our sport that never existed before. And I think that we have an opportunity with the Alliance to show families, what the journey can look like and support them along that journey as well. Of course, everybody looks at us and they think elite, they think national championship. And yeah, like that is a big part of who we are. And we had to create that so that we could create that top of the pyramid. And then we can bring more resources to every layer of the pyramid too. So there's a lot with the Alliance, but I think like I always just go back to our mission, and it's putting the athlete first, and it's serving our sport. And I look at the people that we've surrounded ourselves with and stayed together with that common mission and core values, and that's what I think the Alliance is.
That's really cool. What would you want people to hear that they don't hear all the time about the Alliance? That is it, that base that it's coming, that we have the top. What would you say?
Yeah, like that we're for everybody. That the Alliance Fast Pitch, the whole idea was to bring the sport together. Like that's what drives me crazy. It is that people think we're trying to destroy or trying to disrupt or we're trying to take down, PGF or whoever. Like to me, I don't want to be PGF. Like I don't want to be USA softball. I want to provide something different for our athletes and for our sport. And that's what we've done. We haven't like blown up anything. What we've done is brought the sport together. And I hope that more people see that. And what I think I'm most proud of with the Alliance Fast Pitch too is the core people that started and with the whole idea of wanting to come together, they're still there. and they're still showing up. And we've gone through adversity, we've gone through some challenges, right? Like we've gone through really tough conversations. We still show up, like we are still there. And I think we've become even closer. It's just like a team, right? Like when you battle through adversity, you come out at the end stronger because we all have the same goal in mind. Like we're all shooting for the same thing. And I'm going on a tangent now, but I think our sport was divided because everybody had their own agendas, right? Like, and this is no disrespect to the event world, but like our sport was run by events, and that dictated everything. That dictated relationships. That dictated little alliances and things that were created. What's special about the Alliance is these are travel ball organizations, really, that are working together. Now, do some of them have event companies? Yes. But these are really travel ball organizations, coaches and players who are coming together for the sport and for the athlete. And when that happens, they know, like, they have responsibility to the family. And that's what, like, we talk about it all the time, and it's real. Like, we care about the family, the parents that are out there, the athlete that's out there. And I think just like that's always at the forefront of what we're doing, because like we got to, go coach them. Oh, not me, but the people inside the Alliance do.
Yeah, it's fun. It's been really fun to become friends with the people in the Alliance, the people on the board, the commissioners, just the coaches in general. I personally have really enjoyed it. So thank you.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Like it's so fun, and it's somebody like Marty Tyson. I didn't know Marty that well; I just knew of him, and now getting to meet the entire family, and you just see he's a good example, because if you see Marty coach, you might think, man, he's really hard on his players. But when you get to hear his story and his family, and you're like, wow, like these people really care, and that's everybody. Like that is, and I'm just proud of the people, and not just inside the Alliance board, but our leagues as well. Like they do a lot of work. they do. There's a lot of work behind the scenes, and it's created something pretty special with the Alliance.
Yeah. Is there any project within the Alliance that you're most excited about right now? One that you're working on, or one that's coming up?
Um, the first thing that gets me like so fired up is our PAC, our player advisory committee. And I leave every meeting. We meet monthly. These are juniors and seniors in high school that went through a pretty thorough application process. And they want to be leaders, right? They want to speak up for their peers. They want to be a voice of the athletes. They want to have a seat at the table. So I'm really excited about what we've created there and what those women can do. They have no idea. Like I keep telling them, like, you guys really can change the sport. Your voice matters. So I think that group's going to do some really special things. But our futures leagues, like my heart, I love, like I was an elite athlete. I love to compete, but I also know where my roots started. And I think providing more opportunities at the futures level and giving parents better resources, giving coaches better resources, I think is really important. Like I'm gonna steal from Kevin Shelton here, but we have to make the pie bigger. Like stop trying to eat the same pieces of the pie, which is what our sport has done for so long. Make the pie bigger. We need more girls playing softball. They have a lot of options now. Like look out for flag football and lacrosse, because that's where a lot of girls are going to start playing. We need to grow the pie and get more girls playing softball. And to do that, we got to equip the coaches and parents, right? Like we have to give the girls a better experience at the beginning so they love their experience, they stay in the game, and then it's beneficial for everybody. But we got to grow the pie.
It's like my favorite, by the way. It's my favorite statement. Like whenever anything comes up, it's like, okay, are we growing the pie, or are we fighting for the same place? Like,
Exactly.
how do we grow it? That's really fun. I love that. All right. So, speaking of Kevin Shelton, you started the Dallas Charge with him. And I've heard about y'all's experience there, and that sounds like a lot of work and a lot of fun. A lot of work, a lot of fun. Where do you see post-collegiate softball going from here? I mean, we just did the AUSL. They just announced their schedule. They're coming to Chattanooga for a couple days. Pretty pumped about that. Where do you see post-collegiate softball going?
Because I've been super passionate about professional softball since my teammates when I was in college. I feel good about it finally, and it's 2025, and I've never said that before. And that's no disrespect to anybody who's continued to try, but I feel like there's real money and corporate dollars behind it, which is important in professional sports. Like there has to be an investment into it. I'm excited. The draft, the production quality, like that spoke volumes to me too. That of what was put into that. I'm actually listening to a Sports Business Journal podcast, and I'm hearing commercials for AUSL. Like that takes real money to put those commercials on. So I think there's a pretty expensive investment that's been going into promoting this. Everything that's coming out, it looks good, it looks professional, it feels good, and that matters. Like it's professional league, and I'm hoping this really sparks the growth. I want to see these women paid. I want to see them be able to be softball players full time. Like, sorry, college coaches, but like I actually would love to see where they didn't have to coach college and play professional. So I'm hoping that we're making those investment dollars into their salaries as well. But I am excited for the future of professional softball.
That's really cool. That's cool to hear. Yeah, as someone who has invested in professional softball, I agree. I think that, I mean, what we did was really hard. And I was pumped to see someone with deeper pockets step up and say, like, this is worth investing in.
No, and it is like there's a lot of people, and that's why I'm like, there's no disrespect because a lot of people who are passionate and they put their own dollars into it and want to see this, but we don't want to go backwards too. So that's where I feel like we're moving forward, and I'm excited about that. So everybody who has invested, whether time or dollars, can get behind it. In a NFCA this year, like AUSL having a presence at the National Fastpitch Coaches Association, where in the room you've got a bunch of college coaches and high school coaches and travel ball coaches. And the call from Carol Bruggeman was like, hey guys, let's get together and support this thing. I'm like, yeah, that's what we need. It's kind of like the Alliance, right?
Yeah. No, a collection of people working together to
Exactly.
push this work forward. All right. I have some rapid fire questions for you here at the wrapping up our car ride home. First one, you ready? What is your favorite A&M war hymn?
Oh, favorite like tradition or song?
War hymn is what Selena Collins told me to ask you.
I like the war hymn is like we do the war hymn at the like we saw them off, right? I think, oh my gosh, there's so many. We went to fish camp where we like learned all this stuff as freshmen. So maybe she means what's my favorite time of doing it or moment,
There we go. Let's do that. Yeah.
which is so it's kind of goofy, but like in our war hymn, we saw varsity's horns off, which means the University of Texas. So when you beat the University of Texas and then you get to saw them off with your home crowd, which was my senior day, which we won the Big 12, beat Texas, and it was our last home game as seniors, and then we sawed them off, like the war hymn. That was freaking cool.
That was it. Oh, that's so fun. That gives me chills. And let's say I messed that question up, not Selena. So he's very clear on what that is. What's your favorite A&M tradition? Just the whole thing.
Okay, the Aggie ring is really cool. Now, as you know, in my 30s living in Florida, and like we'll have conversations with random people with the Aggie ring. Plus, you dunk it. And by the way, for the longest time, I held one Texas A&M softball record, just one, and it was the fastest ring dunk. But I will go on record because she wrote me a letter. So every year, like players who wear your number, they would write you a letter. And Rylan Wiggins, who I freaking love, who just graduated, she was number 2. And in her letter, she wrote, "By the way, I beat your ring dunk." And I'm like, oh, I'm a little upset about it, but I'm also really freaking proud because I think I did it in like 12 seconds. So,
well, I don't know what a ring dunk is. I'm so ignorant. I don't.
22 seconds. You put your ring in a pitcher of beer. It's 4 beers, and you chug it. And like our family is there, like the whole team is there. I mean, it is an A&M tradition that you dunk your ring.
Oh, that's so great.
So
Okay.
I will never drink a Coors Light again in my life because I chugged it.
That's so good.
I was 22, everybody, by the way, when I did that.
I love it so much. A little A&M. Okay. What book are you currently reading?
Oh gosh. Psycho-cybernetics.
I knew it would be fun.
It's actually it's about self-image, and it's really interesting. It's a he was a plastic surgeon turned psychology, and just wanting to understand like our perception and self-image. It's a marketing book, but I'm also I like two-time things. I do Audible and I read The Right Call: What Sports Teach Us About Work and Life by Sally Jenkins. That's a new one that I'm listening to, and it's really good.
Oh, love that. Of course, you're listening to two books. What's at the top of your to be read list? Do you know?
I don't. Like my advice to somebody else?
No, your next book that you're going to read.
The next book. Goodness, Jill, I don't know. Sometimes I do like to go back on books, and good old Kevin again, he just made a reference to Good to Great. And it's a book that it's one of my all-time favorite books. I actually read it in college. It's like the one book I remember reading. But I have that on my list to go back and revisit. Good to Great.
I read that book because you told me to. And good. It changed. It did. Yeah. It changed the way that we organize things.
If anybody really wants to get in my mind and really understand like what I see for the Alliance, the book Play Bigger, that is like, it speaks to me. And I model a lot after that. It's about category kings and thinking different, not better. And it's such a good book. I read it three times now.
No, I just made a note to myself. Definitely going after that one. Okay. And then what podcast are you listening to right now? Like when you get in the car, podcast?
Every day I listen to the Sports Business Journal Daily Buzzcast. So it's like 8 to 12 minutes, and it gives you kind of bullet points of like what's going on in sports business. So that one's really interesting to me. They're talking a lot more about youth sports now, which I find fascinating, obviously. I actually just found a podcast called Pro Fluence, and it's all like they interview a lot of executives in youth sports and sports tech. So that one's also really good. And then I got to shout out Softball America because I do listen to them when I need some like softball updates. So I know what's going on.
No, I love it. I love it. Well, that's all the questions that I have for you today. I have very much enjoyed this car ride home, and getting you to talk so much has been really fun.
Did you learn anything new about me?
So much. No, you should see my note page. Like I've got more questions. Like when you were playing baseball, did you wear your hair up or down?
Oh my gosh, it's embarrassing. Like down, and I for so long I wore hats, and like I don't wear hats anymore. Like,
see, I knew. I was like, I bet she wore her hair down. Small town Texas.
Yeah. I have some like super embarrassing moments. I look back, and my sister and I are like, Mom, like it's kind of a form of child abuse that you let me wear my hair like that.
You chose that. You wanted to play baseball so bad. So that's just one of the things. So
I wanted to be Craig Biggio my entire life, or my baseball career.
Who is it?
Craig Biggio. Killer Bees. I'm a Houston Astros fan.
Astros, yeah. Yeah, Biggio was huge. Yeah. That's so fun. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Jill. Thanks for letting me ride shotgun today.
Yeah. So fun.
Hey, guys. We hope you're enjoying the Car Ride Home podcast. Hopefully we're filling the air and making your car ride home a little bit more enjoyable. Please be sure to subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Apple, or YouTube, and leave us a review. If you have any special guest or requests that you'd like to hear, or have us bring a guest or a story onto the podcast, shoot us an email, info@thealliancefastpitch.com. We'd love to hear from you.